Everyone, my name is Jimmy. Like they said, I'm from Azusa. I was born in LA, raised in Azusa, family member of 9. What I'm about to say, it took me a long time to say this, to come out in the clear, to clear my mind, and I couldn't have done it without God's help. God can fix a total mess into a beautiful message, a test into a testimony, and a victim into victory. I was a victim. At the age of 7, I was molested by a family member. At the age of 7, I was lost. I was confused. I didn't know what to do. And it hurt me. He hurt me. He hurt me bad. And it was a family member. What I should have done at the time was tell somebody, and I didn't. I should have told my dad, but I know my dad would have killed him. This I know. I was raised in a family that was my dad was in total control of everybody, all of us, all 9 of us. And it was a house where, with my mom there was a lot of love. She's the only one to follow God, had God in her life. She prayed for all of us. And like I said, I should have told my dad, or I should have told somebody, because it destroyed me for a long time. I became the stutter. Couldn't talk to friends, the little friends that I did have. I couldn't talk to nobody. And it made me feel, like I said, confused. The stuttering made it worse. At school, people made fun of me. Back then, being a bully was, I could say it was normal, being a bully back there. And I was bullied a lot. But at the time, I learned one thing, and this is the only thing my dad ever taught me, was how to protect myself, how to fight. The individual that hurt me, did this to me, I hated. I did not want to see him, and I didn't see him for a while until he came back again, and I seen him, and I was scared. It did something to me that I never knew in my heart that would do to me, and it really destroyed me for a long time. This individual looked at me, smiled, and walked away. And I hated him. I never felt in my heart I could hate somebody like I hated that person. At the age of 9, I started drinking, and I started smoking pot. This was a new beginning for me, and I loved it. Remember, I was only 9. At the whole time this was happening, my dad was hurting us, was hitting us, come home from work, drunk, hit somebody, mostly me. I was like the black sheep of the family. And he hit me every chance he got. Whatever problem was at the house, anybody got blame on the kids, I took the blame. Why? I couldn't understand it, couldn't figure it out. At the age of 9, my brother Oscar, at the age of 16, came home one day, and he was out of control. He had a brain hemorrhage, a vein that busted in his head. And first thing that I remember, and the only thing I remember he said was to my mom and dad, "I'm sorry." Took him to the hospital. Within 24 hours, he died. He was the closest one that I knew from brothers and my sisters that I truly could say I loved. He tried to protect me from my dad. And whenever my dad hit my mom, he was there in the middle. When he died, I don't know what happened. I totally took his place. Whenever my dad came home to hit my mom, I would get in the middle of it. So again, I'm the one that took all the beating. My dad was always a provider. He was an amazing provider, but he was an alcoholic and a fighter and mean. One part I want to say about my dad was, my brother went to a bar one time. He was 21. Went to a bar and got beat up by 2 brothers. Now this is what my dad did. My dad went to the bar, seen those 2 brothers, and he stabbed both of them. My dad spent 5 years in jail. And to this day, I remember my dad coming home telling me, "Don't you ever go to jail. Never go to jail." He said he lived mostly in a place called the Hole, which is in the bottom of the jail, bottom of the prison, where they put people that were misbehaving, fighting, not paying attention, and not doing what they're supposed to do. He said out of the 5 years, he was there 2.5 years in the Hole. So when he came back, he was even more bitter and more mad. But something happened to him. He did change a little bit. But again, I'm telling you again, at the age of 9, I was drinking and smoking. By the time I got to the age of 12, I was in a gang called Azusa Boys. The Barrio Azusa, we were born and raised. You had no choice but to be in it. And at the time, I think there were maybe 30-some of us kids that were in this barrio. So we owned the place. We did whatever we wanted to do, didn't care. One thing I did do and one thing I did learn was at high school was that I was able to learn. But I didn't care about life. I was into drugs already. I was partying. Then, at the age of 16, I got my girlfriend pregnant. And that completely changed my mind completely. My life completely changed forever. Her dad came to my house with a shotgun, and he wanted to kill me. My dad seen him with a gun. My dad came out with his gun. And these two gentlemen were just mad-dogging each other, looking at each other. I thought they were going to kill each other. 5 minutes later, they're drinking a beer together, talking about what I did. When my future father-in-law left, my dad gave me the biggest beating of my life. To this day, I remember that beating. He hurt me. So going back to my first marriage, I didn't know what to do, but what I was going to do. At the time, you needed 210 credits to graduate from school. I had 245. I had amazing knowledge to learn, and I was only in the 11th grade when I already had 245 credits. I quit school. I married my girlfriend. And to this day, I can't say I regret it. I tried to be the man that I wanted to be the perfect husband, but I wasn't. I was still doing drugs. I was married, I got into this gang fight, and I hurt somebody pretty bad. I went to jail. When I seen the judge gave me a choice. Either 6 months in jail or join the Army. I joined the Army. That's where I started collecting money and taking care of my family. But at the same time, in the Army, there was so much prejudice, so much hate. They hated Latinos. They did not like Latinos at all in the service. So I was there again, arguing, fighting, and just wasn't in the right place at the right time and still doing drugs. But one thing they did teach me, and I thank the Lord for this, they taught me discipline. I actually learned how to be a better man when I was in the service. But did I stop the drugs? Didn't stop the drugs. Continue on. Doing the drugs, got to worse drugs. I was selling coke, and when you're selling coke, you got people coming to your house like crazy. In and out, coming, buying, selling, buying, whatever they wanted. If they wanted to sell a car, a bike, whatever, I would give them the drugs. Just keep whatever they had. I got to the point where my life was going nowhere. But I was still working and doing the drugs. Then I found out that my connection, my number one friend, my best friend, my compadre, had an affair with my wife. And I learned it from his wife. And it really destroyed me. I wanted to kill the person. And all through my life, all I did was fight. I love fighting. I always loved to fight one-on-one. And this guy, who was supposed to be my friend, had an affair with my wife. I wanted to kill him. And I looked for him for like 2 or 3 months. I couldn't find him. He went across the border to pick up some drugs, and he didn't make it back. He got arrested. And I found out he stood 15 years over there. My life did not get better. It got worse. I got divorced. And this whole time that I was married, I had a little girl. Her name's Yvonne Marie. And she was the blessing that saved me. She's the one that I love so much, would do anything for. But I was still selling drugs. from my house, selling drugs, making money. I had money like crazy. And I didn't care about my marriage. I didn't care about my daughter. I loved her, but my life was all over the place. Didn't care. Then we got separated, me and my daughter. Didn't see her for like 15 years. She would only come every once in a while. Daddy, you got any money? And I would give her money. So my relationship with my daughter was not good. Then, in 1985, I got stabbed. I got stabbed in the stomach, and I thought I was going to die. When I got stabbed, for some reason, I knew in my heart I wasn't going to die. It seemed like somebody was watching over me, but I didn't know who or what. And I made it. I survived. In 1993, I was working as a mechanic at the house. A friend of mine came over, an acquaintance came over, and he wanted to sell me a motor, an engine. I said, okay, I'll buy it, but leave it here, let me test it. He didn't want to do that. He left anger, mad, him and his cousin. 2 hours later, I went inside and came back out, and one of his cousin was trying to steal my tools. And I got in a fight with him, knocked him down. I went and looked at the other guy, his name was Gilbert. He pulled out a gun and shot me in the head. Again, I should have been dead. And I made it. The bullet went here and came back out. And to this day, I have issues with my body and my head because of that bullet. But I made it through that day. The individual who shot me was an acquaintance. He ended up getting arrested 3 months later for robbing a gas station. He had 3 strikes. He did 25 years in prison. He got out last September. And I got a message from the cops saying that he's coming out. If anything happens, let us know. Well, I didn't worry about it. I already had God in my life. He died last week, or 9 days ago he died. He OD'd, overdose. So this is a person who I hated all my life and did not like wanting him. I didn't care about him, but when I found out he died, I felt sorry for him and I prayed for him. In 2011, that's when my life changed. I met this woman named Aneta, who's my wife, who's here with me right now. I asked her out for a date like maybe 20, 30 times. She always said no. Well, this time it was my birthday, and she said yes. And we went out to go see a movie called The Green Hornet. It was a dumb movie, you know what I mean? We went to go see it, had a beautiful time. I asked her out again, and she said no. I go, why not? Because I'm going to Bible studies. I'm going to the SOAR. I know, what the heck is a SOAR? I didn't know what a SOAR was. And I told her, and I asked her, can I go with you? She looked at me like it was funny. What the heck? How can I get rid of this guy? You know what I mean? Why does he want to go? Well, I went, and I haven't stopped going. I've been going to the SOAR since 2011. It did an amazing job in my heart and my mind. But there and then I did not have my transformation. I was just listening, paying attention, and learning. Then, in the same year, in December of 2011, I went to a retreat called the ACTS. It stands for Adoration, Community, Theology, and Service. And again, I didn't want to go. Did not want to go to this retreat. Well, I went. And this retreat totally changed my mind, my heart, everything. I did a complete metanoia, a transformation of the heart. And it led me to so many open doors I couldn't believe I'll be at right now. And it's just a feeling that I have in my heart now that I'm serving God. And I wish I would have had God 20 years ago. I would have changed my life completely. I thank my wife for being there for me 150%. Without her, I wouldn't be where I'm at. Men, it takes a woman to guide you and to lead you to God. And I got the best gift of ever. Going back to my fighting. The last time I fought, when I was 49. I'm 61. The individual I fought, the guy who shot me had a lot of friends. So every time somebody went to jail, they'll come out and wanted to fight me. The guy I fought when I was 49, the last time I fought. I remember all my fights, okay? My first fight when I was 6 years old, my last one when I was 49. That's how much times I fought. My record is like 38-2. But I lost twice because I was always drunk and high. I started getting hit. But this individual that came at me was a friend of mine. And he told me, I came here to hurt you in front of my mom's house. And he hits me. And I told him, we're friends. Why are you doing this to me? Why? The reason I'm bringing this back up is that this friend was a friend. So we ended up going in the middle of the street in front of a crowd. I think there must have been like 20 to 30 people there waiting for this fight. Well, we fought. And I'm not going to tell you who won or lost. I won. But what I'm trying to say is this individual, his name was Mike. He did it because somebody else told him to do it. He didn't do it because he hated me. He did it because they gave him free drugs. And he did it for that only reason. And we fought. And to that day, I told myself, I made a promise, no more fighting. Going back to the SOAR again. I know I'm jumping all over the place, but I don't know how much time I have. The SOAR saved me. It truly saved me. It changed my life. I am now, right now at this moment, an altar server, a Eucharist minister. I'm a Knights of Columbus. I belong to the Acts. I belong to the SOAR. I work at the food bank. I'm all over the place at the church, and I love it. I'm serving God. I'm serving people. I came from an element of the barrio, a drug addict, a fighter, didn't care about life, and I survived. Look where I'm at right now. I'm talking to a beautiful group of people here at the church instead of out at a rehab place or an alcohol place. You understand what I'm trying to say? Drugs does not bring you nowhere or anything. Does not lead you. If you're on drugs, find help. If you've been molested, and if it's been 10 or 15 years, doesn't matter. I'm seeing a psychiatrist, and it's really, in the beginning, I didn't want to see him. And it's true, the veterans, because I was in the Army. I've been seeing a psychiatrist for 7 years, and he helps. Being molested was the worst thing that happened to my life. So I'm urging every one of you, if you know anybody or anything, or anybody that ran through that, he needs to tell somebody, especially the police. So that individual who did it to me, I don't know if he did it to anybody else. And it's a situation that I think I let it go, but sometimes I hear something and it just brings it all back. I heard a testimony from an altar server a while back. A friend of mine told me to go to the meeting. And I want to go hear it. And it was the worst event I ever did was hear what happened to him. Because it felt like I was there again in that place. Tell somebody. I'm telling you this again. If you know anybody, tell somebody. I found God. I have God in my life. I'm serving God. This is where I want to be. I know the door in heaven is very, very small. We're all supposed to walk like God. I'm not even 10% good enough to walk with God. But I know I'm trying my best to be the best person I could be. And I cannot do it alone. God is my everything. Jesus, Mother Mary, and Joseph, I ask them to pray for me every day, to intercede for me. And the more you pray, the better person you become. So no matter what happens, pray a lot. Whatever problems you had, pray. And if you can't find a solution, talk to somebody. Talk to a friend. Talk to a counselor. Talk to anybody. Get help. Because all it does is destroy you inside. Thank you.